The hero with 1,000 faces, Joseph Campbell. Imagine you're sitting in a darkened theater, watching a story unfold on screen. The protagonist begins in familiar surroundings, receives a mysterious call to adventure, meets a wise guide, and then crosses into an unknown world filled with trials and revelations. As the credits roll, you realize you've witnessed something strangely familiar, though you've never seen this particular story before. Why does this narrative feel so deeply known to you, as if it's been written into the very fabric of your being? Joseph Campbell discovered that this sense of recognition runs far deeper than coincidence. His exploration of world mythology revealed what he called the monomyth, a universal pattern underlying the hero's journey found across cultures, centuries, and continents. From ancient Greek epics to modern cinema, from Aboriginal Dreamtime stories to contemporary novels, the same fundamental structure emerges again and again. The hero's journey isn't just a storytelling device. It's a mirror reflecting the archetypal process of human transformation itself. In our age of constant change and personal reinvention, how might understanding this ancient pattern illuminate the journeys we each undertake in our own lives? The monomyth begins in what Campbell called the ordinary world, that familiar realm where the hero lives before adventure calls. Consider how this mirrors your own experience. Every significant change in your life has emerged from some version of ordinary routine, hasn't it? The job you held before starting your own business, the relationship that preceded a profound awakening, the comfortable beliefs you maintained before questioning everything you thought you knew. The ordinary world serves a crucial purpose in the pattern, establishing not just normalcy, but also the limitations that make transformation necessary. What makes Campbell's insight so compelling is how he recognized that the peaceful ordinary world always contains the seeds of its own disruption. The hero may feel comfortable, but there's often an underlying restlessness, a sense that something essential is missing. This isn't a flaw in the story structure. It's a reflection of the human condition itself. You might find yourself wondering about those moments in your own life when everything seemed settled, yet something within you stirred with unnameable longing or dissatisfaction. The call to adventure arrives as an interruption, a summons that cannot be ignored indefinitely. Campbell understood that this call rarely comes as a clear, trumpeted announcement. More often, it whispers through synchronicities, appears in recurring dreams, or manifests as a persistent feeling that your current path isn't enough. The call might emerge through crisis, opportunity, or simply the gradual recognition that who you are doesn't match who you're meant to become. It's the moment when your carefully constructed ordinary world begins to feel like a cage rather than a home. Yet the hero's first response to this call is almost universally refusal. Campbell called this the refusal of the call, and it reveals something profound about human psychology. Even when we desperately want change, we resist it. Even when we know our current situation limits us, we cling to its familiarity. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The psyche understands that true transformation requires the death of who we've been, and no part of us undertakes such dissolution lightly. You've likely experienced this tension yourself, that agonizing space between knowing you need to change and gathering the courage to actually step into the unknown. The threshold crossing marks the point of no return, the moment when the hero finally commits to the journey despite uncertainty and fear. Campbell noticed that crossing this threshold often involves encountering guardians, tests, or ordeals that seem designed to turn the hero back. But what appears as obstacle is actually invitation. The threshold guardians aren't there to prevent passage. They're there to ensure the hero is truly ready for what lies beyond. In your own life, you might recognize these threshold moments when external circumstances seem to conspire against your decision to change, only to realize later that overcoming those initial obstacles taught you skills essential for the journey ahead. The heart of Campbell's insight lies in recognizing that the hero's journey isn't ultimately about external adventure. It's about the transformation of consciousness, the death and rebirth of identity, the integration of previously unconscious aspects of the self. The dragons faced and treasures won are symbols of internal psychological work. When Luke Skywalker confronts Darth Vader, he's not just fighting an external enemy, he's integrating his own capacity for darkness. When Dorothy discovers she had the power to return home all along, she's learning that the resources for transformation were always within her. This symbolic dimension of the monomyth speaks directly to contemporary challenges. In our culture of constant external stimulation and achievement, Campbell's work suggests that the most important journeys are internal ones. The mentor you seek might not be another person, but your own hard-won wisdom. The special world you need to enter might not be a geographical location, but a new way of understanding yourself and your place in the larger story of existence. Consider how this pattern applies to modern rites of passage that our culture often lacks. Career changes, relationship transitions, spiritual awakenings, creative breakthroughs, even the daily choice to become more authentic versions of ourselves. Each follows the hero's journey structure. You leave the familiar, face uncertainty and resistance, receive guidance, encounter trials that test your commitment, experience transformation, and finally return with new wisdom to share. The pattern remains constant, even when the content varies dramatically. Campbell's framework also illuminates why certain stories captivate us across generations, while others fade immediately. The narratives that endure are those that align with the archetypal pattern of transformation embedded in human consciousness. They remind us, at levels deeper than rational thought, of our own potential for growth and change. In an era when many people feel stuck in cycles of consumption and distraction, reconnecting with the hero's journey pattern can reawaken the sense that life is meant to be a transformative adventure, not merely a comfortable routine. Perhaps most importantly, understanding the monomyth helps you recognize where you currently stand in your own journey. Are you living comfortably in an ordinary world that no longer fits? Have you heard a call that you're still refusing? Are you standing at a threshold, gathering courage to cross? Or are you in the midst of trials, wondering if the struggle is worth it? Campbell's pattern suggests that wherever you find yourself, you're exactly where you need to be for the next phase of growth to unfold. The key insight from Campbell's work is that transformation follows a pattern, but it's never formulaic. The hero's journey provides a map, not a rigid prescription. Your particular adventure will be entirely unique, even as it follows the universal structure that connects your story to every other story of meaningful change throughout human history. What emerges most clearly is this understanding. You are simultaneously the hero of your own journey and the ordinary person who must choose, again and again, to answer the call toward greater authenticity and growth. In a world that often feels chaotic and meaningless, how might recognizing your life as a hero's journey in progress change the way you approach both your daily challenges and your deepest longings for transformation? As you settle into rest tonight, let this recognition wash over you gently. Your life isn't just a series of random events, but a meaningful journey with its own inherent wisdom and direction. Every challenge you've faced has been preparing you for something larger. Every comfort you've left behind has been making space for something more authentic. The pattern continues, ancient and reliable as breath itself, carrying you forward into the next chapter of your own eternal story.